Hello everybody, thank you so much for stopping by my channel. My name is Jasmine, aka Budget Treasures, and here on my channel we talk about all things finance with the emphasis on budgeting, saving money, and paying off debt. And we are now house hunting. I am in the market for purchasing my very first home, and so I am bringing you guys along the journey with me. So if you are not subscribed to my channel, I really hope that you subscribe today, and I really hope that you hit the notification bell, and I really hope that you hit the like button on this video. It really helps us out whenever you watch the video fully through, whenever you watch those good old ads, and then whenever you hit up the like button. So if you don't mind, I ask if you can please do that for me. Thank you so much. And let's go ahead and get into the video. So today we're going to talk about the first 5 things that I did once I accepted that I needed to purchase a home. And so if you want to hear all about that, just make sure you go ahead and stay tuned. So the very first thing that I did was I reached out to a lender. What the lender did was he pulled my credit report and he told me what my credit score was. And he also looked at what I had on my credit. He looked at my debt to income ratio. He looked at how much money I made. He looked at my employment history. He looked at my tax returns. And then he also, I think that was all that he looked at. And based off that, he gave me some action items. There was some debts that I needed to pay. And, while I am delivered and I pay my bills, I'm not running to pay bills, okay? So these debts that he told me to pay off, I kind of already knew that I needed to pay them off, and I was prepared to pay them off. I was just, I was being stingy, and, there was one creditor that I just really didn't want to pay. I was trying to, take them to court and everything, but bottom line, I had to pay those debts off, and he used a simulator to be able to say, hey, if you do this and this and this, your credit score will eventually be this. He also had me using my credit cards, and I'm not going to go too in depth about this process in this video because I do want to dedicate a video talking about credit. A lot of times you hear some misleading things that I have heard as well, and I want to be able to come and give you guys the tea on what it really means to qualify for a home. We also talked about the type of loans. That's something else that we're going to dedicate a video to. He talked about qualifying for a conventional loan versus qualifying for a FHA loan. And so while yes, you can qualify for an FHA loan with a credit score of about 580, I think it is. However, there are some things that's going to come with that. And so in a future video, I am going to dedicate it to talk all about it. So let me stop here and say I am no expert, okay? By no means am I an expert, am I a financial advisor or anything like that. I am just going over my process and what I went through. I just wanted to put a pin there because I don't want anybody saying, well, Budget Treasures told me, get me in trouble. I'm just telling you what I did, okay? And so that was the very first thing that I did. And so after I did all of that, number 2, I then got my pre-approval letter. The pre-approval letter is very important because that gives you purchasing or buying power. You're able to then know exactly where you stand. It gives you an amount that you're approved for, and it tells you what type of loan it's going to be. So then he gave me a calculator that I was able to use and punch numbers in and all that good stuff. And then that told me where I could live, basically. Then at that point, I was able to say, okay, I'm comfortable with living in this area, this area, this area. This area I'm not comfortable living in. This area I want to live in, but it just may be a little bit too much. Or, so it tells you a lot. That pre-approval letter is very important because it just basically lets you know where you stand, and then how to look for what you want to look for. Number 3, the next thing I did with that pre-approval letter is I used the lender's calculator to determine what can I afford and at what interest rate can I afford the home. So that's another thing It's like so much into it that I learned, but you might be approved for $1 million based on your credit. Well, it's based on your income and all that good stuff as well, but you very well can be approved for a lot more than what you actually can afford. So the bank will look at everything and the bank will say, yeah, we'll go ahead and we will approve you for $600,000. Go find a house. But in actuality, after you punch the numbers and you look at all of your finances, because now what the bank is only looking at is they're only looking at what you have based on your debt that's on your credit. They're not looking at groceries. They're not looking at childcare. They're not taking into account extracurricular activities. They're not taking into account your couch that you want to buy, or anything that's not related to your credit. So if you know that you have responsibilities outside of what's on your credit report, and you're like, okay, you know what, I can only afford $1,000 a month, then you know that you don't want to go find a house for $600,000. You want to look for a house that's about $400,000. So you really have to be realistic with yourself about what you can afford. You don't want to purchase a home. I wouldn't recommend, or I'm not saying nothing, but for me and my house, I'm not going to go buy a house for $600,000 and I can't comfortably pay that and still have a life outside of that. So that's the third thing I did, was I really crunched the numbers to see, okay, I'm approved for X amount. What do I want to pay? What do I feel comfortable with paying? And then I can move forward. So number 4, I then started to look online for homes. So I hadn't reached out to a realtor quite yet. My mom and I, who you'll get to know, my mom is very involved in this process with me. But we just started going online. We started looking at Zillow.com. And this is not like sponsored by any of these people, but I started looking on Zillow. I started looking on Redfin or Redken, whichever one it is. I'll put it up here on the screen. I started just looking up new construction in, whatever area I wanted to move in, only because at that time I was like, I only want a new construction. I was being real bougie. I was like, I don't want to live in no other house that nobody else lived in, and if I do, I gotta remodel the whole thing. Like, I was being a brat, let me tell you. But I just started to look to see what was out there, and was in areas that I wanted to live in, and just to kind of see what the prices of the homes were. And that kind of gave me like an insight. It started to get me a little bit more motivated as well. I started looking at HGTV. I started going on YouTube and watching videos just like this one. And I just really started to have a lot of conversations with my mother. It was just a lot going on, and that was the 4th thing that I started to do. And then the very last thing that I did was I reached out to a realtor. Once I reached out to a realtor, I said, hey, I have an approval, I have a pre-approval letter, and I'm ready to go ahead and start looking. And so what the realtor does is they kind of go over the numbers with you. They see like what you want, what type of home do you want, how many bedrooms do you want, how many bathrooms, are you flexible, are you not flexible, do you want a home, do you want a condo, do you want a townhome, where do you want to live? And then they have like a database that only they have, and in that database they can see homes that you're not going to find on Zillow or Redken or Redfin. And so they start sending you homes like, here, this is what we have by the pictures. Do you want to go see any of them? And so with that, I would tell my realtor, like, yes, I want to see this one, this one, this one. And so that was the very first process. So the very first day that I went looking for properties, I actually did not film it. It was a very tiring day. This video is already 10 minutes. I think I'm going to cut it, but I will talk about my first day out in the streets. And let me tell you, it was a lot of work. And that's where I got the name HomeWork series. it's not easy, and I want to walk you guys through it. I feel better now, but then at that time, it was very stressful. It was an emotional roller coaster, and we'll have story time with that. But those are the first 5 things that I did when I finally made up my mind and accepted that I'm gonna purchase a home. So definitely please make sure that you continue to stay tuned for the homework series. On the next video, I will have a tour of some homes that I have visited. Some of these homes I've already gone to, and the only ones that I'm gonna show you are the ones that I was really interested in. When I tell you I looked at a lot of stuff, I don't want to just be showing y'all just a whole bunch of stuff. I want to show you what's important. So those are the homes that I'm going to show you, the ones that I was really, really interested in and pretty much like almost made an offer on. So I got some stories for you. I don't want to, tell you everything. But make sure you stay tuned, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you hit the notification bell so that you know when I do upload these videos. And then also please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And I will see you in the future. Peace out.